Hello, folks. Brandon Chapman here with you. It's a Monday video from TheoTRADE. It's April 29th. We're almost at the end of the month, and you know what that means. We have the FOMC policy statement for May. We've got Apple. We've got Amazon earnings coming up this week. But today it was Tesla that stole the show as the stock finished about 15% higher on the session. Basically, news coming out of China, they may allow for their advanced driver assistance technology to be rolled out. Maybe we're talking full self-driving or FSD. The market seemed to like that as we saw the post-earnings breakout continue. And this is a stock that I highlighted last week following the news on this day right here as the idea of looking for three criteria for buying a stock following earnings. Number one, they beat earnings. They beat revenues. The stock goes up and we see positive guidance. All three of those things hit, and we looked at it on the 25th. We looked at it from the perspective of positive analyst revisions, and we talked about an upside call spread at 180, 185 that was pricing at about $1.20, and then today it's pricing over $3. So this creates opportunity, right? When companies announce positive earnings, they break out, especially when you have a stock like Tesla that's so beaten up. With companies like Apple set to announce this week, Citi gave the company and others a vote of confidence, basically saying we got a buy rating on them. Despite the weakness that we've seen overall in Apple, the company does have earnings coming up on May 2nd after the close. And do we create the same positive result? Is Apple going to announce something better than analysts expected? Well, frequently Apple does beat analysts' expectations, but the wrinkle is in the guidance. Does Apple guide lower? Do they guide higher? That will ultimately shape the trajectory in Apple. Apple did receive a downgrade last week among other names of the Magnificent Seven. So the question is, who's right? Well, we'll find out by May 2nd. And the interim before that, we have Amazon, right? Amazon is set to announce. We're talking about a significant amount of market cap in the S&P 500. This is announced tomorrow after the market close. And so again, there's potential for big movement. So what we can expect for this week, in a word, is volatility. So when we think about the S&P 500 /ES, this is the futures. Understand that with the Fed policy meeting this week, with Apple and Amazon, just realize that, hey, we are in a very tenuous position here. We may see significant volatility throughout the course of this trading week. So be prepared for it. Now, what does that mean as far as you as a trader? You as a trader might mean you wait for the news to happen, like Tesla, and then decide to make your move. And so again, Apple, Amazon, and of course the broader market being affected by both of those and the Fed policy meeting on Wednesday. Now, nobody's expecting the Fed to outperform, right? The Fed to raise rates. Nobody's expecting them to cut rates. But at the end of the day, what we're looking for is whether or not the Fed is going to cut rates more than maybe one time this year. Now, there is the CME Fed probability tool that you can look at that gives you a sense of what the expectations are. So you can see the May meeting here this week on May 1st of May, 97.3% chance. We're at 5.25% to 5.5%, which by the way is the current. So we're not expecting any rate cut this meeting. Well, what about June? Well, if you look at June, 88.4% probability. We stay at the same rate. What about July? For July, we're looking at a 70% probability of staying at the same rate, 5.25% to 5.5%. We've virtually priced away any rate cut by the July meeting. And if we kick out to December, what do we see for there? Well, we look at an 18% chance the Fed stays on hold. But if you add 18 and 38%, it's what? It's a little bit over 50%. So what does that mean? We have a greater than a 50% probability, a 56% probability. The Fed remains at 5% to 5.25% or higher. Basically, we're not pricing in greater than a 50% chance the Fed cuts twice before the end of the year. And this is a little bit of a shift from what we saw a month ago here when we saw that greater than a 50% chance, add those two together, of a 4.5% to 4.75% or lower, which means that was 3 rate cuts. We've completely taken 3 rate cuts off the table in the last month. And so far, the market's been able to largely shrug that off. But this is where we start to see, okay, what is the Fed going to really do? A month ago, we were up here. This is where we are today. What is the Fed going to do? Of course, the Powell presser may provide some indication of that. And does he create heartburn for the market? Well, today we saw Janet Yellen create heartburn for the market. It was It was the refunding agreement. And look, what this means is for the quarter, they're laying out, and they'll probably get more details in a couple of days here, but the idea is they're laying out how much they're gonna borrow in the next quarter. They're laying out what terms they're gonna offer in terms to get that refunding. The fact of the matter is there is a tremendous amount of refunding, meaning bonds that are set to mature that they're gonna have to borrow money to pay those bonds out, but they'll maintain the level of the debt. This is not deficit spending as much, but again, this is quarterly refunding. Now they're going to fund the Treasury. And so when we think about this, there's a significant amount of money set to be borrowed. What that does is that does suck money out of the system to some degree, especially with new debt that's being offered by virtue of deficits. We're running significant deficits right now. The federal government the appetite is strong, and that's sucking liquidity out of the system. We're seeing bank reserves start to come in as well. The fact of the matter is that this is going to stifle potential growth in the market. Now, of course, we have the buyback window kind of opening up here. Companies may get back to it. But notice today, again, after some initial heartburn for about a minute when that refunding came out about an hour before the close, there was a little bit of a sell-off in the bond market. So I'm looking at the wrong one here, /ZB. Forget the TNX will shut down early. But look at ZB. You look at this when this announcement hit, you can see the initial negative reaction at 3 o'clock Eastern. And then we kind of shrugged it off and we rallied. The market came back and everything was honky-dory by that point. But the point is that, look, I mean, these are real obstacles for the Fed to go, for the S&P to go higher. And it's the federal government, it's the Federal Reserve that are kind of standing in the way of this by virtue of liquidity draining from the system. But the reality is the S&P has been up phenomenally over the last number of months, and we've yet to see that real washout selling day that suggests that we're going higher. Right now, we're kind of waiting for the VIX to probably break out, and oftentimes you get the initial reaction, especially if you start to see a 10 to 20% correction or fall. This VIX should break out to new highs here. So we've been kind of holding back on wanting to sell premium into the higher VIX, selling some calls and doing our catapults, but we've been holding back from selling puts because of the potential for the market to explore new lows. We've just have not seen the washout occur yet. I can't say washout to washout. But anyway, as we look at the VIX, if you look at skew, what you'll notice with skew is skew ticked up on Friday. We'll get the news later today as far as what the level is on skew. We saw as the VIX went down, more protections being bought, buying puts, selling calls. There's risk to the downside still being priced in at this moment, even as the VIX is going down. And what that means is the VIX is going down precisely because they're buying puts and selling an increasingly greater number of calls. So the VIX is coming down, but skew is rising. This is not the type of put selling that would normally drive the VIX in this case because the skew is going higher, buying puts and selling greater number of calls. Skew is increasing throughout this process. That's not what we want to see if we're looking for lows in the market and hopefully new highs soon. The reality is we'll probably need further downside before this really starts to work its way out. Now, is it possible we could see as we progress through this week with Apple and Amazon, a Fed meeting, could we start to see that turn? Yes. But look at skew as that kind of key indicator. If we start to break down, it says, look, they're pulling protection. They want to see that upside. They're increasing their delta to try to capitalize on upside movement. That, however, has not been the case as skew has remained above 130 and on Friday ticked up from 134 to 140. And again, we may see a further increase in skew today. But again, post these announcements, once we get through this week, maybe we start to see that come out. But in all likelihood, we're probably not at the bottom yet. And again, this week we might sell the news because we've been buying the rumor heading into it, as you'll see, for example, in Apple today and the last week, Amazon as well. Again, the last few days, we've been up strongly in Amazon. So we'll see. Again, we may have been buying the river the last few days. We're going to see the news this week. We'll see how they respond, and we're going to see how the broader market responds. But of course, as we look at TNX, again, this is the 10-year Treasury yield is a benchmark rate. Yields kind of dropped today, but just realize that if we start to break higher, this could create a lot of risk for the market as rates go higher, and certainly interest rate sensitive sectors like financials, which may be kind of topping out here, looking for a retest, if not a break below. Regional banks is on top of that as well, looking to retest lows, if not break through lows. Rising yields may help create that environment. IYR right now on the bearish side, we're up today. Yes, yields came off, but if yields start to rise, it should create pressure, bearish pressure in IYR and real estate in general. And that may trickle over to utilities. Now, utilities are more of a defensive sector, but they've appreciated strongly. They've significantly outperformed the S&P 500 over the last couple of months. And so, again, we may start to see some of that come off. Now, in kind of a reaction to that, VST, which was up significantly today, if you go to the Analyze tab, they're a utilities company. Again, they're integrated retail electricity power generation company in Texas, et cetera. But they've performed phenomenally well. Today was a big update in this stock. However, we also saw that there was some buying of puts in the October expiration out here, out of the money of 48. Again, doesn't mean the stock is going to immediately go down, but we're starting to see some bearishness kind of creep in, especially if we start to see rates rise. This could see a broader kind of sell-off in utilities, despite the fact it's a defensive sector, and today it was the second best performing sector on the day. We might see we're a little bit overextended. We might expect to see a near-term pullback, but the more natural is financials, especially regional banks. We're looking at real estate in the mix as well. Then, of course, we'll see how Apple and Amazon come out with today's news. On more of a defensive sector front, waste management company, we're kind of testing resistance. We already had earnings come out. Stock made a nice breakout, some decent volume down here. Resistance is around 214-ish. Today, the trade on waste management, this was a May expiration at the 215 strike. So again, this is a defensive-oriented stock. We're near resistance. Earnings were positive. And if you look down here, if I can tag the right one, the company beat earnings estimates. The stock was higher. And again, today we're seeing, again, bullish option activity at the 215 strike. This creates a gamma level. And if we start to break through it, again, may engender some increased buying as we break through that point. And again, we're only about 3 weeks to expiration on that May 17th. There's some gamma potential there. Another one's uranium. So we got a couple of bearish sectors, but what about energy? URA is catching a nice bid today. The trade on URA was for the 3 May expiration. So we come in here, it's this week, 12,000 contracts, mostly bought at the 31 strike. And again, kind of creating that level. Now with ETFs, you don't have as much punch in terms of a gamma squeeze, but again, this does create kind of a level as we take out 31 to maybe push higher. And how does that translate to the most impactful uranium stock? Well, CCJ does have earnings coming up this week. And again, it's coming up tomorrow before the market opens. So again, you can take a look at, does the company beat? Do they raise guidance? Does the stock go up on its earnings? And you'll notice today, again, some anticipation, the December expiration, this is out there a ways. There's been a number of trades in the last week here on CCJ, specifically 15,000 contracts, mostly bought at the December 55. And again, not a lot of a gamma at that level because we're out there in the December expiration. It's not as short dated, but again, as this rolls towards 55, this can help create momentum, but it does create kind of a short-term target here around that 55 strike. And as you look back here over 10 years, again, we're trading at all-time highs right now. But again, a breakout of this level may create kind of the cup and handle formation, the range from 31 to about 50, 39 to about 50. We'll just say 10 points. 50, that gives you a $60 price target in the coming months for CCJ. So we're at kind of a critical level here. If we start to break out, we may see a lot higher prices, and you're seeing some bid today in the market for CCJ, specifically in the options ahead of the earnings. But again, we'll see what the earnings are tomorrow. Gives you a chance to react. TAP, this is another defensive stock here. At lows, earnings coming up tomorrow before market open. So again, you can see whether or not this ties in with that breakout mentality. Again, closing higher in the day, beating earnings, beating revenues, raising guidance. While today's trade in TAP, we're looking at a May expiration here, buying the 65, selling the 67.50s. Again, this provides kind of an upside bias. Now, here's the deal. I'm not one for really trying to identify or trade unusual option activity ahead of earnings. Still kind of that 50-50 scenario. But again, these companies are going to announce in the morning. So when you see it, it gives you a little guidance, right? The buy side on the calls are more there than on the sell on the put on the bearish side on the puts. So again, if we start to see some movement, this may help kind of create more of a breakout in the price. Tap the after hours. This is a 340 expected to move about 5% on the stock tomorrow. So we're looking for a big move. But again, if the earnings come out positive, and again, we see that, again, beat on the top and bottom line, earnings and revenues, positive guidance. We get that trifecta. Again, this may help create opportunity to trade this back to around $70 on tap. And if we go back and we take a look at CCJ, again, looking at a breakout and an expected move towards 60. Again, the expected move overnight is about 370, which is significant. We're talking about what, 7-8% or so. So we're expecting big moves in the stock. But if they can gap higher, finish higher on the session, hopefully finish near the high of the session, this does create kind of a breakout opportunity type trade like we saw with Tesla and also Visa last week. Although Visa did fade, we're looking for this for kind of retesting the prior high at around 283. Well, folks, gives you some opportunities to watch for tomorrow with earnings, the bigger backdrop of Apple and Amazon earnings and the Fed announcement. Again, a lot of stuff happening, so keep some powder dry as we progress through the week. This may create opportunities later in the week to really start to make some moves based on the reaction to a lot of these big events this week. And we'll catch you back on the next week's video. Have a great one. Thank you.